Oh yeah, Black Sun in the Hizzle, all for shizzle dizzle. We got an excellent show here today. Y'all see the title, Drag Racing Wisdom. What a title, right? Y'all know I come with these strange titles, these metaphoric titles, because I like to tie it in with life experiences, what's going on in the Ukraine, and just the attitudes and mentality of people, especially here in America. And I was watching a 1950s movie. You know, I love these old time black and white movies where the drag racing. What's going on? My guy Black Sun. Relax and talk sports. What's going on, man? Um, I want to talk about the culture of drag racing and what it solves. Here in America, you got black people, white people, Hispanics that like to talk. They like to talk, 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 talk. And we see this with the EU talking, a lot of talking, especially with this Ukraine Russia war, uh, the situation with Venezuela. We could even say that with Trump bombing the boats and all that. But I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I'm gonna keep it simple with just using something that we all know. We all know people that talk, talk, talk. The big, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, and they just talk and talk and talk. Well, this is the evolution of how drag racing started because you had all the people, oh, I can do this, and oh, my engine, oh, it could put out 300 horsepower, and all this and that. And it's like, okay, well, let's put your car up on the goddamn strip and let's race. We hear all this talking you're doing because everybody's a big shot drag racer until you put your car on the strip. Once you put your car on the strip, then you realize, okay, my talking ain't gonna save me. I'm gonna have to hit the pedal to the metal. I'm gonna have to goddamn see what this engine can do. You got to see if your car's light enough. You got to make sure you're steering. Like, people say they don't hit the brakes. You got to hit the brakes on those corners. Well, drag racing is a straightforward. So, I guess drag racing, NASCAR is two different things. But the point I'm making is that in let's just say drag race, and I'm not going to even use a NASCAR because you got to hit the brakes. You got people talking, oh, I don't even hit the brakes. Oh, people talk a lot of shit until that green light hit and it's time to hit that goddamn. Now, you hit that goddamn gas pedal. What I've recently learned, this is just recent Relax and Talk Sports, is that I'm around a lot of people that talk a lot of shit. Oh man, I can do this and I can do that. And so my thing is, and I'm gonna use an analogy. I had this groupie who likes to kiss a lot of ass, groupie, talking about, oh, well, let's see your style and this style and this style, because I ran into two individuals that talked a lot of shit, and so I'm like, well, why don't we put that to the test? Why don't we just put it to the test? And that's where drag racing culture started. Well, it started with the moonshine, but when they legitimized it, you had a lot of loud talkers. Um, I wish I could refer y'all to this movie that if y'all seen Rex's Talk Sports, have you seen The Devil's Rejects? Rob Zombie's Devil's Rejects. If you've seen The Devil's Rejects, plus one. I want to show you how far back this is the perfect movie. One. Okay. Do you remember the clown? The dude. Do you remember the clown dude? He said fire. Yeah. Okay. Max said fire. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the clown dude in The Devil's Rejects, he was in a lot of old movies. Yes. Okay. So he was in this old movie, this old black and white movie where they were drag racing. And, he was the big talker. Ah, blah, blah, I'm the race. Because, he was a champion. So the more races he win, the more shit he would talk. Until this other guy came along. I forget the other guy. Now, if y'all remember, Do you remember the original Star Trek? Or like talk sports, Mac? I know you do. The original Star Trek, with it was called the Menagerie. Press one if you remember the Menagerie with the guy that was in the wheelchair. He couldn't talk, but he was like beep beep. If you remember that guy, he was in it. Press one if you remember that guy. Okay, so you remember that guy. Okay, or you remember Menagerie, the original Star Trek, but there was a Star Trek before William Shatner. It was that guy, Captain Pike. Yes, yes, Captain Pike was in this movie along with the other guy that was from the Devil's Rejects. So you see how far we going back. Um, the guy in Devil's Rejects was a racer, and the guy Captain Pike was a racer also. He came along. Classic movie. If you can look it up, I forgot the guy's name, but look up the movie. But it was a classic shit talking movie. And I'm just like, yeah, that's America. We talk a lot of shit until it's time and talk shit. I mean, Fast and Furious, I guess, kind of did it too, but I like the black and whites because the black and whites emphasized the shit talking until you have to get on the race. And needless to say, a lot of times when you challenge somebody to a race, a lot of times they'll back down. A lot of times they'll back down. It's about 50-50. Half the time you'll get a person like, okay, let's race. And half the time, like I said, they'll back down because you'll put money on the line. I'm the type of person, if you talking shit and talking all that, put your money where your mouth is. And this is how NASCAR, drag racing, this is how this became a big thing because you had big rigs that had the money and said, man, quit all your blood clot, quit your blood clot trapping, man. Quit your blood clot trapping, man, and put your money up. Put your money up, put your money up. And this is how you have the Formula Ones, your NASCARs and all that because it has turned into a billion-dollar industry. Because anybody and everybody can talk shit. It's just like boxing. You can talk shit and have a plan until you get punched in the face. And that, they all know, and industry blows up too. But I like to use, I mean, boxing is a good analogy, but I like to use NASCAR because NASCAR, there's more components than just walking up like doing a Mike Tyson and knocking the motherfucker out. You have to know the science of racing. You got to know braking, acceleration, when to warm up your tires. There's a lot put into it as opposed to just walking up and boom, just having pure power. Now, that's a whole other thing. I use car racing because car racing, there's more science, there's more prep, and there's like any fine little detail, like I said, the weight of the car, the weight of the engine, how much horsepower is put out in the engine, the transmission. There's a lot involved in drag racing and even in NASCAR. Even in NASCAR, they say, you know, you had old timers brag about, oh, I don't use the brake pedal, and that's the guy from Devil's Rejects. He would always say, I don't, what the brake pedal? What is that? You know, bragging and shit. But no, you got the, when you go around those curves, because you'll spin out, you got to know when to press on the pedal and when to let off and when to drift into the curves and all that. It's a whole science, even with drifting. So I say that to say this, is that there's a lot of shit talking. Like when you look at NATO, NATO's talking a lot of shit because they think they got this plan. Oh, we'll just drag Americans to the war. And y'all have heard me talk about that. So NATO's not ready to go to war, not because they panicked when they said, oh, you know, Russia was. Trump said, oh, you guys want to go to war? Okay, go to war, go to war. And they were like, wait a minute. He just mentioned NATO and Europe, but he didn't mention America. They really started paying attention to what Trump was saying. Trump don't want to go into war with Russia. He knows that will cause a World War III. So now, what I'm saying is that people, when they're bragging about this, that, and the other, and you want to bring them people together, there's going to be a challenge. Like, let's put this to the test. Let's put it to the test. Let's see if your style is better than my style. Let's see, basically, what I'm saying is that if you're bragging about how fast your car can go, then let's put it to the test. And then people begin to get doubt when you put money on the line. When you're like, you know what? Okay, yeah, your car is faster than that. You face, oh, you can do this. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, let's put some money up. And a lot of times when people are just talking, they get quiet. They get doubtful, and they be like, damn, do I really want to put up money on this? The sensible ones will think. That's why I say it's 50-50. You got a lot ones, well, you got some that'll just jump out the window, but for the most part, I want to give people credit. A lot of them will think about it and get quiet. And I've experienced this, I've seen it, I witnessed this, that people get quiet and they stop all the shit talking, all the goddamn chest pumping when you put money on the line, especially when a person is broke and don't have no money to put on the line. They will get real quiet real quick. And so I'm not only using a person analogy, but I like to use NATO as an analogy. Again, it's funny how things happen in my life, and then I see a bigger, broader picture of what's going on, and I can apply it to NATO because NATO don't have the money and they're talking a lot of shit. And again, I've recently experienced this in my personal life. I just when people are hanging out, you got a group of people, and everybody's bragging this and that, like, oh, okay, let's race, let's put some money up, and then they get quiet. Like, oh, okay, problem solved. Now we know who has the better style, the racer. Like sometimes you don't even have to brag. It's like if a person says, "Yeah, let's race," and another person don't say nothing, they back down. Well, obviously we know who has the better style there. Oh, Jesus Christ, are you serious? Jesus fucking Christ, man. You need to go back to South Dakota. Where the fuck you from? Nevada? Driving like that, bitch. Okay, so the moral of the story is basically put up or shut up. Put up or shut up, and the person didn't put up, so they had to shut up. So I'm hoping this applies to NATO. NATO's putting up money, but do you have the troops? Do you have the resources? Do you have the plan? No, you don't have none of the above. You got Zelensky talking crazy, talking about, or you got NATO talking crazy, talking about they want the 1991 borders back from Russia. Relax Talk Sports, Mac. Do y'all know how much territory Russia has gained since 19? No, I'm sorry, 2001. They said 2000. I said 1991, or let's just say 2021. Hell, I mean, hell, they want the borders. They want all the territories back, every single territory back, even before Russia went into in Ukraine and insisted the Republic of the Donbass. I'm learning that there's a lot of people who rely on bragging and just talking, but have no intentions on backing what they're saying. You gotta back what you're saying, and this is the wisdom of the drag racing wisdom. You just pull them, apply that to everything in life. When the people just talking big talk, pull them on the track. Say, hey, you claim that you're bragging and boasting about A, B, and Z. Put your money up. Put your money up. Put your money up. Get some water here. Oh shit. Woo, throat's dry. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, the fall pollen's getting to me. So yeah, man, the moral of the story is, man, just put up or shut up. And I witnessed it last night, and so I'm hoping that this applies to NATO because I witnessed it. Maybe this is a premonition of things to come. I witnessed, like I said, hold on, come across two people bragging, and when it came down to it, the person who was down, I suggested, well, let's have a race. And the person who didn't back down from the suggestion was the winner by default, because that person is confident and has gone through whatever they had to go through to prove their point. Trial and error, where you have people not going through trial and error, but still just talking, talking, talking. So okay, well let's race now. Me knowing that, knowing both people, I knew the I knew the strong points and I knew the weaknesses of both. And so let's just say the person who backed down had more weaknesses and recognized their weakness. Not only did the person recognize their weakness, but the cheerleader recognized the weakness too. Oh no, it's Ellen be a loudmouth bitch, boy. I tell you, but I say that to say it's some, when you're in a group, you always damn got these damn groupies that want to damn uh, always want to kiss ass, and then just what I'm saying is that the groupie can gas you up to put the battery in the back to make you feel like, oh yeah, I could beat anybody. But then when you around somebody who knows your weaknesses, then it's like, oh no, let me not do that. But like I said, I can because I participate in these races too. I participate them and I look at and I train people on certain things, like just like driving. You want to, if I'm training you to drive truck here in Georgia, I'm going to tell you the ins and outs, the ups and downs. I'm going to tell you how to avoid DOT, how to bury a load, this and that, and even in this field of work that I'm in, you got people, truck drivers, who, and y'all know what I mentioned about people flipping trucks over. I'm thinking as a truck driver, it's common sense to, slow down when you make turns because we're top heavy, but y'all will be amazed. I'm not amazed because I've seen the fatalities and I've seen the flip overs and all that. I've seen the damn truck drivers slamming to damn walls and all that shit. So the way I view things is different than the way other people view things because, again, a lot of these people have not experienced and seen certain things that I've seen. And so, yeah, in order for me not to become like those people who flip over trucks and crash into this A, B, and C, I have to. Um, I just learned, it's just wisdom. I learned from it. And again, goes back to the drag racing. You got people talk, talk, talk. A lot of people in this field be talking, talking, talking until they get pulled over by DOT, and then some of them, their perspective changed, but then some of them, they just, I don't know. You can tell the ones that are experienced and ones that are not experienced in this field. Again, when you get pulled over and go to court, two things are going to happen. When you go to court, you're going to lose money because you're not going to court. And when you go into that court, they're going to pull money from you. So you're losing twice. And so when you get pulled over and got to go to court, hopefully you gain some wisdom. Me, your boy, Black Son, I've been pulled over enough times and I'm like, okay, uh, I've learned and evolved that there's certain things they look for. Like, again, a hump on the truck, a hump on the back of the truck. When you come to Georgia and you see a hump on the back of a Georgia driver's truck, especially a dump truck, he's new. That's what you call a new booty. He's new in the field because he's not been pulled over enough times. We got tired of getting pulled over. Say, you know what? I don't want to go to no more than courtroom. Let me make sure. Now, some DOT officers will tell you, we look for the hump. I've said that numerous times. And so people don't believe me until they get pulled over, until they have to go to court. So, there's an old saying, a hard head makes a soft ass. Woo! Hard head makes a soft ass. So, oh man, uh, let me look in the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Put trying to match Catherine the Great. Putin trying to match Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great, explain. Oh, you got to explain that. I mean, Putin is showing a lot of restraint. That Catherine, did she show a lot of restraint? Because Putin is showing a lot of restraint. But again, it's a war of attrition. Black to talk sports, so it's about wearing down. It's not even about gaining territory. It's about wearing down your opponent's resources. And America and Europe, they're mad because you got a lot of our generals over there. They're saying they're not over there, but they're over there, and a lot of them getting killed. So that's where I get it, the animosity from America and Europe is coming from. But it's like, man, don't, you know, I'm not understanding how our brothers in arms over here in America don't understand that you don't go to Russia's backyard, especially with that hard winter, and battle them. You don't do that. You don't do that. But again, you got a lot of brothers in arms that are hard headed. One of the people that I'm speaking of is a brother armed, he's hard headed. But he knew enough sense to know, I can't do this race. I can't put up money. I'm not going to do it. And I guess realize, okay, it is what it is. But unfortunately, the cheerleader got upset. But that's what cheerleaders do. They get upset because they don't see the bigger picture. Anytime you bring two different styles of racing together, then there's going to be a challenge. There's going to be, especially when the other guy that I know, shout out to Dave, is from England. England, they've always competed with us. They always want to compete with us. That's why when the Formula One, it'd be like Germany, France, America, you know, Canada. They want to prove themselves not only national circuit, but worldwide. And so, especially when you representing a country, America in the Formula One, you're going against France and England. It's really, really, really competitive there. So, you know, even with the movie that I suggested to y'all, they were racing locally and then nationally. So there was that whole thing. Either way, man, when you're representing, like I said, locally, you might be from Alabama. Then nationally, you got to take on different states, New York, whatever, nationally, and then you go to the international. So it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, the ego becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. But again, you have to back up. You have to be able to get on that track first and foremost before you start bragging. You got to get on there and you got to get the experience and you got to learn the ins and outs. Your boy knows the ins and outs. And I'm just saying, when I see other people who don't know the ins and outs, but then they're bragging about what they can and cannot do, I call them out. Okay, let's race. Knowing that I've been around you and I know all your weak points and I know you cannot go through the whole obstacle. You cannot go through the whole obstacle. So stop it. Don't let these cheerleaders blow your head up with the bullshit. Drag racing mentality, the wisdom of drag racing, y'all. The wisdom of drag racing. Because there's a lot of groupies that hang around and try to, the loudest talking person, then the groupies gravitate towards, and they don't realize, you're setting your boy up and don't even realize it. You're setting him up. You're blowing his head up, and then so when he gets called out, he's looking crazy, and you looking crazy for them, egging him on. But cheerleaders are just groupies and cheerleaders. That's what they do, not realizing that you know they're not seeing the bigger scope, the bigger picture, the bigger scope and the bigger picture of like knowing like me. I got the gray hair, so I'm always the elder. I'm like the person who does all the training. I'm always kicking back and just watching people. But let's see what y'all talking about here. Putin trying to, okay, have you ever drag race black? So yes, I have. Yes, I have. In my younger years. When I had my Malibu, yeah, I used to goddamn tear people up. And then with cross classes, I would race a lot of them, not like Japanese cars and smoke them. And I had a heavier car. But yes, to answer your question, yes, Mac, I used to drag race. And so um, even though I don't drag race anymore, the science is still the same. You know, cars have not changed in the last since cars have been invented. I mean, they've gotten faster and they got electric cars. But what I'm saying, the conventional gas operated car is still the same. You know, especially when you got stick shift. You know, um, nothing's really changed. Again, it's about skill and experience, or experience and skill. Those are the two main factors. Skill and experience, and learning from your losses. Skill, experience, and learning from your losses, meaning that as you're racing, you learn like, damn, it's weird because as you're racing, you're learning from your mistakes in real time. That's why I said braking is very important because you learn that just natural. Well, I can't even say natural because again, in the field I'm in, you got people flipping trucks over. So I don't know what it is. I don't. I guess it must be an Ethiopian, Somalian thing over in Africa. I don't know what it is about y'all drivers, but y'all be flipping shit over. Oh God, y'all be flipping shit over, and y'all don't. I just don't understand y'all. But anywho, um, it's just life lessons, man. Life lessons, man. You have your perception. You just got to be sharp, man, and you can't be. You know, as Kenny Rogers would say, you gotta know when. You gotta know when to go, know when to fold. You gotta know when to. All that applies. You know, even though that's playing cards. I guess it's similar because you're betting, right? But you gotta know when to fold. And if you don't have the means, if you don't have the experience, if you're still struggling with some things, you need to just bow out. And that's what happened. I witnessed this last night, bow out. And I don't know why Europe is not understanding when not to bow out. It's time to bow out. Russia, Russia has already won the war, and Orban of Hungary or Slovakia, Hungary, Slovakia, and they got a new guy in I think Georgia. They've all said, no, man, this war in Ukraine, no, Russia's already won. But Europe, Europe is still trying to press on, push on, push on. And you got the neocons here in Georgia getting in Trump's here to push on, push on. So I hope, I hope I made myself clear. If there's anything that I didn't, I was not clear on, if I misunderstood, I hope I made myself clear, man. Drag racing mentality, drag racing wisdom. You know, like I said, even in a race, you can learn and you can learn some things. Yeah, you know, and the ego, you learn that it squashes a lot of ego once you get on that track. You know, now people who don't know better, you might have a person losing and brag to people who don't know it better. When you get on there with people with experience and who has put in the work in, you notice people, yeah, they just get quiet. They just get quiet and they stop. They don't keep the blustering and bragging and boasting. They tone that shit down. They get quiet. So yeah, a little drag racing wisdom. I want to give a shout out to Relax Talk Sports and Mac. Who else is in the chat here? Big facts, yes sir. Okay, okay. Captain Pike, yep. Okay, Mac. Yeah, Mac, I ain't seen in a while. Where you been, Mac? Man, you on these YouTube streets, man. What other channels you been, man? Or you just been working? Give me the lowdown on all these other channels, man. Because you know I don't go to these other channels, man. They ain't talking about the war. I really don't go to each other channels. But what's going on in the YouTube streets, Mac? What's going on? What is going on? Great topic. Yeah, man. It's just some life. Mac, it's just I wanted to just share it, like something I experienced myself, man. And like I said, a lot of these things happen in my personal life, and then because I think, I always ask the question, why they don't stop this war? Like, man, why they don't stop this war? And then this, sometimes things in life happen to, I guess, show me, like, I guess was the lesson is, I guess, to talk to me that Europe is officially going to have to jump into the war by themselves. They're going to have to jump into the war in order for them to be humbled and stopped. But the thing is, what I have not mentioned, and I'm going to mention now, is that people in Paris, England, France, England, I'm not sure about Germany, but they're protesting mainly over the Gaza thing. But they're protesting; they don't want to go to war either. So these governments are really, and then the economical situation over there. So a lot of people in Europe are disagreeing with not only with this war in Ukraine, but also the situation with Israel. And it was funny, the situation with Israel and Gaza is kind of helping the situation with Russia and Ukraine in a strange way. I know it sounds weird, but it's actually helping in a strange way. And it's funny because I know MD of all people would disagree with that, but yeah, it's actually helping. It's actually the people are on the side of the Gazans, and of course Russia, they support the Gaza people of Gaza, and so uh, the people who are they say who are funding the war in Ukraine are also the people who are funding Israel and Bibi. Now, MD did mention that, but um, they say that America wants to bog down Ukraine so they're unable to help Iran, but it seemed like all the American strategies have been backfiring, from Iran to the Ukraine situation to hell, this situation with the boat down in was it Venezuela? That's going to backfire. So it's like, man, whatever situation that involves war is backfiring. The Houthis, in the Black Sea, the Hamas situation, it's all backfiring. It's backfiring, 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 and it's like, who is advising Donald Trump? The neocons. I'm answering my own question. The neocons. So we have a situation, y'all. I'm just gonna keep it real. We have a situation where the neocons are playing golf with Trump, and they're constantly in his ear telling him the wrong shit. They're constantly telling him the wrong shit. They're not advising him very wisely. Like, they're trying to keep Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's smart, but I don't know if they threatened her or what they're doing, or blackmailing her. But yeah, she's spoken. She speaks out, but it's like a lot of what she say is suppressed. And so you got the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the I forgot the other uh, neocon, but yeah, they're all pushing this narrative for war, especially with Russia. And it's like, no, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea, because that shit can escalate into nuclear war. Once it escalates to a nuclear war, nobody wins. That's why, but I try to tell it from a advantage point of where we live. Like, no, we won't win. They won't win, but nobody wins in a nuclear war. But I don't know why people, their mentality, it just, I don't know. But again, I like to call it the grunt mentality. Jarhead, ooh, we America, ooga booga, we win. And unfortunately, you got a lot of people like that. And that's why we send those type of people on the front line, because you don't need them advising any type of strategic, offense or anything. That's why you got ranks, because you got the whole ranks. Ooga booga, ooh. Oh, we America, we win, not knowing that they, the Russian can goddamn hit us, and that's it. That's it. So little drag racing mentality for y'all, man. Just like I said, if a person is talking all that, you get them on the track. Get them on the track, and preferably have them put money up. That'll shut them up. Either they're gonna put up or shut up. Put up or shut up. That's it. Thank y'all for the like. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get going. I'm at this landfill, so I gotta back up. But I'll be more consistent with the videos. I think I'm gonna be doing just more life experiences because it seems like it's like these life experiences have to happen in order for people to learn. You know, you just can't out talk a talker. When people get to talking and all, talking, you just gotta let's do this. You put your money up, put up or shut up, because anybody can talk. Put up or shut up. Get in the ring, get on the racetrack, get where you need to go and put money up, and that'll shut them up. Half the times that'll shut them up. If not, then you have to goddamn just take it to them. Take it to them in the ring. Take it to them on the track. Take it to them. Just whoop their ass. Put up or shut up. That's it. That's the solution. So that's drag racing wisdom 101 for y'all. I hope I've entertained y'all. I hope I entertained y'all. I hope I gave y'all a little lesson. That's something you guys already know, but I know, like I said, just sometimes, like you said, I know y'all experience people just talk, and then just get them on the track, get them in the ring, tell them to put money up. That's it. That's the only way you gonna shut them up. All right. With that being said, man, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Rex, shout out to Sports, shout out to Mac. With that being said, man, I'm out. Oh, thanks for the like, man. Peace, y'all. I'm out. Ah, shit. Ah, damn it.